Hello, dear students, and welcome to this particular session. In this particular session, we are going to continue with our discussion of the play The Merchant of Venice, and we'll be starting with Act 2, Scene 8 of the play. Now, before we go to understand the scene line by line, let us first try to understand what the scene is basically about. Now, in this particular scene, Shylock discovers the elopement of his daughter Jessica with a Christian youth and her theft of gold and jewels while fleeing. This intensifies his hatred for Christians and his desire for revenge. Salerino and Salenio talk about a shipwreck and hope that it is not Antonio's. The scene further highlights Antonio's love for Bassanio as he bids farewell to him with tearful eyes. Now, the scene opens with the conversation between two friends, that is Salerino and Salenio, and both of these characters have been used as choric characters in the scene to provide information to the audience. They talk, provide information, fill in the time gap, help us understand characters and actions, but do not contribute to the action of the play in any ways. We learn from their conversation that Bassanio has left for Belmont the very night of the elopement of Lorenzo and Jessica. Shylock comes to know of the elopement and, suspecting their sail off from the city, he pushes the Duke of Venice to get the ship searched. However, Antonio assures them that Lorenzo has not set sail to Belmont along with Bassanio and Graciano. Shylock is confounded by the loss of his wealth and the elopement of his daughter, and we see him going about the streets of Venice crying for the loss of his daughter as well as the loss of his ducats. All the boys in the city mock at him for equating the loss of his daughter with the ducats. Shylock revolts, or he is determined to avenge upon Antonio and the Christians. So, this is what the scene is basically about. Now let us try to understand the scene line by line. Now, scene 8, the action of the scene shifts to Venice, a street in Venice, and as said, the two choric characters, Salerino and Salenio, they are conversing with each other. And Salerino says, "Why, man, I saw Bassanio under sail. With him is Graciano gone along. And in their ship, I am sure Lorenzo is not." Now, since Lorenzo and Jessica eloped with each other the same night when Bassanio was supposed to set sail to Belmont, therefore it was suspected that maybe Lorenzo and Jessica have escaped unnoticed from Venice in the same ship in which Bassanio and Graciano had sailed off to Belmont. However, Salerino says that he himself was present when Bassanio was leaving for Belmont, and he had seen Bassanio set sail to Belmont, and he is sure that Graciano was along with Bassanio. He is in that ship. He did not see Lorenzo. So he is sure that Lorenzo had not traveled in the same ship as that of Bassanio and Graciano. However, Salenio, the villain Jew, with outcries raised the Duke, who went with him to search Bassanio's ship. The villain Jew, Shylock is referred to as villainous, and when he came to know about the elopement of his daughter with a Christian youth and about the theft of jewelry and ducats from his house, he straight went to the Duke, and he woke up the Duke with his complaints. He steered the Duke to action with his complaints, and he made sure that the Duke, along with him, went to search Bassanio's ship. Yes, so they went to search Bassanio's ship. But Salarino says that he came too late. Why he came too late? Shylock was late to arrive there because by the time he arrived at the port, the ship was already under sail. However, on arriving at the port, the Duke was made to understand that the two lovers, that is Lorenzo and his amorous Jessica, amorous here means loving. So these two people, Lorenzo and his loving Jessica, they were seen together in a gondola. They had not set sail from Venice in the same ship as that of Bassanio. Instead, some people had seen them in a gondola. What is a gondola? A gondola is a flat bottomed boat that is used in the canals of Venice. Okay. So they were seen in that boat. Besides, Antonio, who was an honorable merchant in Venice, who was known well to the people, he also assured the Duke that they were not in the ship of Bassanio. Okay. So they understood. Then Salenio, I never heard a passion so confused, so strange, outrageous, and so variable. As the dog Jew did utter in the streets, my daughter, O my ducats, O my daughter. Fled with a Christian, O my Christian ducats. Justice, the law, my ducats, and my daughter. A sealed bag, 2 sealed bags of ducats, of double ducats, stolen from me by my daughter. So, see here we find that Shylock was mourning over the loss of his ducats as well as his daughter. And the way he was expressing his grief, that was rather strange, which we come to know through the description of Salenio. Salenio says that he had never seen such an outburst of feeling or emotions that was so confused and strange. So Shylock was grieving, but his outburst of feeling was rather very confused. It was strange, it was outrageous. Outrageous means it was done in an excessive way, and it was very variable. Variable means it was frequently changing. It was peculiar, it was excessive outburst of feeling, and it was frequently changing. We say it frequently changing because at one moment Shylock was crying for the loss of his daughter, and the second moment he was crying for his loss of ducats, and at the same time he was crying for revenge. He was showing his determination for revenge. so as the dog Jew did utter in the streets. So it was strange why Shylock was out on the streets crying for his daughter, for his jewels and ducats, for his revenge. And you see, Salenio refers to Shylock as a dog because it is a common term of loathing for a Jew in the mouth of a Christian. So you see, Shylock was crying, "My daughter, oh my ducats, oh my daughter, fled with a Christian, oh my Christian ducats, justice, the law, my ducats and my daughter." So at one moment he is crying for the loss of his daughter, another moment he is crying for the loss of his ducats, yet another moment he was crying for the fact that his daughter got married with a Christian, and he was also craving for law, for revenge. And at one moment he says that she stole away one sealed bag of ducats, and then next moment he was saying two sealed bags of ducats, and she carried double ducats. Double ducats means there seem to have been two kinds of ducats, one being double the value of the other. And not only that, she also stole away jewels, precious stones, two rich and precious stones. All these things were stolen by his daughter. Okay. So this way of outburst of Shylock's emotion is rather strange, peculiar, and frequently changing. The two stones that Shylock refers to here are diamond and turquoise, which was a memento of his courtship and of his dead wife. So, when his wife was alive, during his courtship days, he had gifted his wife with the diamond and turquoise, and that were a memento of his dead wife. That also is stolen away by his daughter. She had the stones upon her and the ducats. Okay. Then Salarino, why all the boys in Venice follow him, crying his stones, his ducats, and his daughter. So the way Shylock was expressing his grief, outcries, the boys in Venice, they were following Shylock, mocking at him, making fun of him. Now you see, uh, we need to understand here that it is genuinely sorrowful for Shylock to have lost his daughter, who betrayed her father's trust and married with a Christian youth. Not only that, she also stole away the hard earned money of her father. Now, Shylock had justified reasons to express his emotions, his anger, but this sorrow of Shylock is belittled by presenting it in a rather humorous way. And the dramatist perhaps has done this because he wanted to prevent the readers from having, from feeling pity for Shylock. He did not want Shylock to gain any sympathy of the readers. That is the reason why it has been presented in such a humorous way. So the way Shylock was crying for his daughter, for his ducats, for his jewels, for his stone, for justice, it appeared to be all humorous to the boys. And that is the reason why all the boys in Venice, they were following Shylock, and they were mocking at him, imitating Shylock, after him, his daughter and his ducats. And Salenio now warns. He says, "Let good Antonio look he keep his day." So Antonio must make sure, must take care to pay his debt on the appointed day. Otherwise, he may have to pay for it. That is, there is a connection between Lorenzo Jessica episode and the main plot of the Bond story. Now, Shylock's anger against the Christians is fueled up by Lorenzo Jessica elopement. He considers it to be a plan hatched by the Christians in order to uh, cheat him, betray him. So, therefore, now he is more revengeful in his attitude. And therefore, Salerino and Salenio can sense that if Antonio fails to keep his appointed day, that is to repay the debt on the appointed day, then Shylock may go very hard upon Antonio, and Antonio may have to pay for it. And Salerino says, Mary well remembered. So there is a prediction, there is an anticipation that, or there are chances, probability that Antonio may fail to pay the debt on the appointed day, because there were some rumors about some shipwreck. He says, Mary well remembered, I reasoned with a French man yesterday. Salerino says that he had a conversation with a French man the previous day, and in the course of conversation he came to know from the French man that in the narrow seas that part the French and the English, that is the English channels. Okay, the narrow sea reference to the English channel. He came to know from the Frenchman that in the English channel a vessel which was richly fraught means which was laden with the rich expensive goods, has been wrecked in the English channel. And the moment he came to know about it, he could not help thinking upon Antonio. Why? Because Antonio was a wealthy merchant, and at that particular moment, all the ships of Antonio had gone abroad for trade and commerce. So the moment Salerino came to know from the Frenchman about a shipwreck in the English Channel, and the ship was richly laden with expensive goods, he could not help thinking about Antonio, and he prayed in silence that it would be better if that ship did not belong to Antonio. Then Salerno, you were best tell Antonio what you hear, yet do not suddenly, for it may grieve you. So he tells Salerno that he, without wasting any time, he must immediately meet Antonio and tell him about what he had heard. But at the same time, he must not be uh, he must not go and immediately inform him, because that may grieve Antonio even more. Why grieve more? Because already Antonio is grieved, because he has bid farewell to his dear friend who has gone to Belmont. And now if he comes to know about the loss of his ship, then he may be even grieved more. So therefore he suggests Salerino that he must go and inform Antonio, but he must not do so suddenly. He must not do so suddenly. And then we get to know a description is given how Antonio parted with Bassanio. How did he give farewell to Bassanio? And Salerino says, a kinder gentleman treats not on the earth. Okay. He had never seen a gentleman more generous than that of Antonio. So a gentleman more generous than Antonio does not exist in this world. I saw Bassanio and Antonio part. He had seen how Bassanio and Antonio took leave from each other. How did they took leave from each other? And thereafter he goes to describe that part. He says, Bassanio told him he would make some good of his return. He answered, do not so. Slubber not business for my sake, Bassanio, but stay the very ripening of the time, and for the Jew's bond which he hath of me, let it not enter in your mind of love. So when they were parting, Antonio was sad, even Bassanio was sad. So that shows that they held each other very dear to each other, and they were very close friends. They were just like kin to each other, relative to each other. And when Bassanio was parting to Belmont, was leaving for Belmont, he told Antonio that he would make some speed of his return. He would hurry up so as to return as soon as possible. But Antonio replied that he must not slubber his business. He must not rush through his business carelessly, but he must take his own time, and he must wait for the right time to come so that he could propose his love to Portia. And as far as the bond is concerned, the bond between Shylock and Antonio is concerned, Bassanio should not allow that bond enter into his mind or interfere with his schemes or plans of love. Instead, he suggests Bassanio that he must be cheerful and let his thoughts be mainly directed to his love suit and to making fair displays of love as shall be suitable and which gives him credit therein Belmont. So he should uh, take time for courting Portia, and he must put up such fair displays of love that must suit him while he is there in Belmont. And even then, the eyes of Bassanio were filled with tears. So when the eyes of Antonio were filled with the tears, he was feeling so heavy-hearted while bidding farewell to Bassanio that there were tears in his eyes, and he did not want Bassanio to see those tears, because had Bassanio seen those tears, then it would have been even more difficult for Bassanio to uh, bid farewell to Antonio. So Antonio, what he did, he turned his face and he put his hand behind so as to, with affection wondrous sensible, and he wrung Bassanio's hand, he clasped Bassanio's hand, and this is the fashion in which the two friends parted. Now, Salenio, I think he only loves the world for him. Now, since Antonio considered Bassanio to be his true friend, so Salenio feels that according to him, Antonio loves the world only for the sake of Bassanio. And they both decide to go and find Antonio out so that they can cheer up Antonio, they can um, cheer up Antonio and divert his sadness by indulging him in some other amusement or delightful conversation. So both of them decide, and Salerino says that they must do so, and saying this, they part. Now, you see what why this scene is important. So you see, the scene gives Shylock yet another reason, that is personal reason, to hate Antonio, against whom he has already nurtured commercial and religious hatred. Now uh, he becomes more adamant in taking his revenge. Now Salenio informs Salerino of Shylock's unusual behavior and that he was mocked at by the boys in the streets for equating his daughter with the ducats. This reduces our sympathy for him. And the fact that Lorenzo and Jessica have not boarded the same ship as that of Bassanio allows Lorenzo and Jessica to arrive at Belmont after Bassanio is successful in choosing the casket. And besides, it whets Shylock's revenge. And there is a foreshadowing in Salerino's mention of the doomed ship that makes us uneasy about Antonio's bond. Though it is not confirmed here that it was Antonio's ship only, but still we feel little uneasy about Antonio's bond. He may default on his loan, and the audience receives the hint that revengeful Shylock may demand a pound of Antonio's flesh. So the scene revolves around bond and business. Human beings' personal and the public domains overlap. Human emotions and judgments are inextricably linked to the financial world by the fact that Shylock weighs his eloped daughter as much as his stolen ducats. So this is all about the scene. I hope you all have understood. If any doubts, you can please do clarify. So thank you for watching. Stay blessed and have a great day.